Aloha mai kako, and welcome back to the Share the Poi podcast. Today on episode 5 of Share the Poi, we have special guest Kumu Mapuana.
Aloha.
And back again, guest host Damon Nagata. Welcome back, Damon.
We're all clapping.
So, Kumu Mapuana.
Hi.
Can you just share a little bit about yourself, like your educational, cultural, and personal background?
Yeah. So aloha. My name is Mapuana Rapoza. This is my second year teaching. I'm an English teacher here. I teach 11th grade world literature and then taught these two fabulous people, AP Lang and composition. This is literally the only educational experience, like, Kamehameha schools is the only school that I've ever really been to outside of like 1 year kindergarten at Kaumana Elementary that just kind of like flies over. But I am a lifer, that's what people call it. And so I am very fortunate for Pauahi for having provided me my entire educational experience. And then after I graduated in 2018, class of Kanaloa, I went to Pacific University in Oregon. I was there for 4 years and then did 2 years for my master's program. I guess cultural background, definitely my Hawaiian identity is the strongest identity that I have cultural-wise, but I owe it to KS for that because my family, or at least in my perspective when I was younger, my family didn't really do too many Hawaiian things. Like they didn't ʻōlelo. My grandparents don't ʻōlelo. My parents don't. So I think it was my mom's goal to happily put me in Kamehameha school so that I could learn ʻōlelo Hawaiʻi. And then she signed me up for hula when I was 3. So I danced for Halau Kua Kanile Hua. That was like my first experience. It was like downtown KTA in this red building. Everybody's slippers were outside. Like people would steal each other's slippers. You would go home with 2 left slippers. Like it was the whole thing. And then I danced Naleo Kaiona and then with Kumukimo in middle school. So hula is definitely also where I got a lot of my Hawaiian identity, but in terms of ʻōlelo Hawaiʻi, like BJ talked about in his episode, Hawaiian 5 was like peak. Like that was as high as you could go. It wasn't so much like conversational Hawaiian, it was all like sentence patterns and stuff like that. Yeah. But like just having made it to Hawaiian 5, I was like, okay, like I think I can like keep learning as I go on. So I tried to ʻōlelo, but I had like this big responsibility as the only one in my house who had access to that. But then growing older, I realized now that I was surrounded by culture. So like my dad, he makes maile and he knows how to gather and do all those things. He makes like lomi sticks. He knows how to like throw net, make net. My mom knows how to make literally any Hawaiian food you can think of, like imu, everything. So like I was surrounded by it, but I didn't see the value just because my family couldn't ʻōlelo. So yeah, that's kind of me. And then I have 4 siblings. One of them went Hilo High. He just graduated. Somebody had to be a Viking in our family. And then everybody else was KS at different stages. So, yeah. It's kinda...
Wow. I know how you said you went to Pacific for college.
I did. Go Boxers.
So early on, what were some of the challenges you encountered in maintaining your connection to Hawaiian culture while being away from home?
Was rough, but doodle-doos for sure. I always knew that I wanted to go to like the Pacific Northwest because I was a Tumblr. You guys are so young, but I was a Tumblr girl in high school. So
I know what that is.
Different from what you guys think with the hydro flask and the scrunchie. Very different. It was like I had a Tumblr page and it was all aesthetics and I loved the music and like the nature of the Pacific Northwest. So I was like, I'm gonna go there for college. Had never stepped foot there before ever, but I was like, no, I'm gonna go there. And so I found Pacific University one day, and I think low-key what got me was on their page, they had like a bunch of Hawaii kids, because a quarter of their school's population is from Hawaii. So Oahu, Maui, the whole thing.
Oh yeah, I know a few people that go there.
Yeah, so it's very big Hawaii community. So I was like, okay, slay, I kind of want to go there. But what sold me was on their website, they're like, oh, we have like loco mocos every Wednesday. And I was like, oh my God.
Did they actually?
Like, they did. Wasn't always good.
Oh.
But they did. So then I was like, oh, they got me. Like, this is like the true, authentic Hawaii away from Hawaii experience. So then I was like, Mom, I'm going there. And so I got in. Literally, like, I graduated from high school, still had never been to Oregon before. And we were driving to Forest Grove, which is where the school is. And I was like looking out of the window and it was just all cornfields. And I was like, I don't think you guys know what this is, but I was like, this is like Children of the Corn. Like, I'm gonna like die out here by myself. Like, where am I going? Like, this is real. And then I cried when my parents left because I was like, I'm by myself now. Like, oh my God, this culture shock is definitely not what I was fully expecting. And then, but I was like, no, I can handle. Like, Poa, he gave me a good foundation. Like, I feel like I'm smart. I'm pretty good with my academics. Like, I'll be fine. Walking to my first class, I walked in, second person there, of course, on time. Thank you, Pauahi. Sat in the second row, and then everybody started filing in. There's like 2 other Hawaii kids. Like, you can just tell. Like, you can tell who's from Hawaii. So they sat in the back, and in walks my professor, and he literally looks like General Snow or President Snow from Hunger Games. Like,
I've never watched Hunger Games.
Damon?
No, never.
Wow. Okay. Anyways, it's like this stereotypical. He was awesome, but very stereotypical, like white dude with the white beard, and he was wearing a cardigan sweater, and he walked in like very proper. And I was like, okay, Hogwarts is giving Hogwarts a little bit. And then he started talking, and I was like, whoa, okay. And then he wanted us to like discuss off the bat, like just like start talking to each other and like to everyone. And so people started to talk, and they were using these big vocab words, and I was like, that was not in my mem bean. Like, I don't know what they're talking about. And then they brought up all these books, and everybody was nodding their heads, and I was like, I've never read that book before. Like, oh my God. Like, and I could literally feel myself like sinking lower into my chair because I was like, I don't think I belong here. Like, I can bring up something that that I learned in high school or something like Hawaiian history or culture, but like, they're not gonna get it. And like, I won't get those nods of like understanding. So then literally the whole year, unless I had to, I was silent. Like, I didn't really talk. I didn't really participate because I was like, I'm like so out of my element here. And then it wasn't until one of my education courses where it was very personalized, and our teacher had us like write about something. And my teacher was like, you should like write about Hawaii. And I was like, will you understand though? And he was like, I'll try my best to. So I wrote about Hawaiian culture and history or something in there. And it was received really well. And when I shared it in front of my class, it was received really well. And so I had this like shift of like, oh my God, I think I can like incorporate what I learned at Kamehameha schools that isn't like Western forward thinking, and it'll be relevant and it'll be interesting to other people. So like, while I'm learning all these new things, I can teach people at the same time. So yeah, culture shock, I went through like a whole identity crisis for sure. But then in the end, I onipa and I continued on, but yeah.
So then how would you say that experience and those experiences like shifted or deepened your understanding of your Hawaiian heritage or culture?
I think it really helped because when I had that shrinking feeling my freshman year, I noticed that I was getting kind of uncomfortable with the fact that I was shrinking, and I knew that. So what I would do is, without realizing it, I would always have something, whether it was my clothes or my earrings or something that showed that I was from Hawaii, and that not just from Hawaii, but I was Hawaiian, like I was native Hawaiian, because there was a lot of Hawaii kids, but not a lot of Kanaka up there. But as soon as I had that shift of like, no, I have a seat at this table, like what I learned and what I know is valid here. So I would go to the library, and they had this huge Hawaiian history section, which was so interesting to me. And so anytime there was a paper or a project, I would be like, okay, well, I'm going to do what the teacher is asking, but I'm going to see if I can incorporate some kind of Hawaiian history in here. And I learned so much. Like, I want to say I learned more Hawaiian history on my own in that time than I did in my entire K through 12 experience, because I was so like, oh my God, like I can use this now. So it was just like, as soon as I went for it, I couldn't stop. And so it definitely strengthened who I am, especially as a Kanaka. And so when I came home, I was like, okay, it's nice to be home. And I know that if I step out anywhere else, I won't have that challenge again of like, oh, like I don't belong here, or like what I know isn't valid. because I already experienced that and it was rough a doodle doos. But now here I am and I'm like, no, here I am. I can share my culture. So very much confident in that. So, yeah.
So like, how did you use that knowledge and also like your knowledge from Kamehameha to approach, or how did that of all that knowledge affect your teaching at Kamehameha schools?
So that is a journey in itself, I think. High school now here is very different from when we were here in a lot of ways. You know, COVID had an impact too. But so originally I wanted to teach history. I wanted to teach Hawaiian history. But I was like, if I'm going away for college, I feel like I don't have a right to teach Hawaiian history if I'm not taking those classes, you know, to actively become a Hawaiian history kumu. So then I went to English, which thank God I did, because I feel like in English you can kind of do whatever you want, you know, because it's just
creative.
Yeah, it's creative. Like, it's literacies of any kind. So like, I feel like when it comes to cultural identity, I teach world literature. So Sage teaches Pacific literature, and then my section is world literature. And I noticed that a lot of students who take world lit, based on the surveys that I give, it's not that they don't want to focus on Hawaiian history and Hawaiian text. It's just that they feel like they get it so much elsewhere that they want to do different like world texts. And so I struggled with that because I was like, but I want to teach like only Hawaii texts and stuff. But then I was like, there's a way for me to take like Kafka's Metamorphosis or like something like very totally not Hawaii and then embed Hawaiian values or like Hawaiian history or something into it, or at least some kind of like reflection of students as Kanaka, and how does this text, even though it has nothing to do with us, how could you see yourself in there? So I feel like as an English kumu, it's a lot easier to bring my Hawaiian identity, but since it's world lit, there's like, I have to be creative with it.
Yeah,
which is fun in and of itself for sure.
So like, what's an example of like a lesson or a project where you incorporated Hawaiian values into your English curriculum?
The easiest one, when I was what is it called? I was a student teacher. So the first year that I was here, I was student teaching with Mrs. Landecker. And that whole semester I got to teach pretty much what I wanted. So I taught this book called Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. Beautiful. Everyone should read it. But she's a Native American scientist and author. So that was interesting. So I had students read specific chapters from the book, and then we related it to Hawaiian culture, which was really cool. Especially because, you know, where we can connect with other Native peoples around the world, but their experiences still are different and their cultural little things are different from ours. But there's like, we can talk to each other in a lot of ways. So that's definitely one for sure. And then like this semester, for example, we're focusing on monsters, the monsters among us, which, yeah, sounds silly, but it's actually not. It's like thinking about what we categorize as monsters. So we watched a Studio Ghibli film called Princess Mononoke, and it's a Japanese film, and it has nothing to do with Hawaii, but it's about the environment and the connection to environment and technology and destruction. And so from that, students are turning in their final essays now. There's a solutions base. So here's all the problems that we see in the environment. What are solutions that our kupuna had to solve those? So like connections with human and nature, the ahupua'a system, and how things like, and how it was just very different back then, and how we can take those lessons and apply them now. So Japanese film, but Hawaiian analysis kind of thing. So that one, definitely fun, for sure.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
What challenges, if any, have you encountered as a Hawaiian educator in like a high school setting?
I honestly feel like I don't really, I mean, yes, I have some, but I feel like for the most part, I can't complain because it's so, you know, they push Hawaiian culture and they push Hawaiian identity here, which is a beautiful thing. And so as like an alumni kumu or as a kanaka, like, it's very easy to not have to struggle with that Hawaiian identity. But if I had to struggle anywhere, it's probably like, I feel like sometimes we don't do enough Hawaiian culture. Like, obviously we're not a kula kaiopuni. That's not how we advertise ourselves. We're like, we have a very niche purpose, but I feel like sometimes we could be doing more in terms of getting us outside. Like, I feel like we should be outside, like in YPO more, like down at the lo'i. Like, we should, like, when I took you guys on the huaka'i last year to Aina University and stuff, do you remember that?
Yeah.
And did you guys have to go in the mud in the back?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, in like the circle.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
so
that was fun.
for the viewers, we went to Aina University. Mahalo to the Luas Ohana for inviting us there. But one of the activities where the students had to go in the back to literally look at nature. But it had rained the week before. So it was like super muddy. Like,
and we had to climb over a log or crawl in the mud under.
Big log and just full water. And some students had their Tory Burch slippers, even though I told them not to bring it. They're like, oh my God, my shoes are ruined. Like glaring at me when they had to like rinse the mud off. But some students in their reflection after, when we came back, they were like, that's literally the first time I've ever touched mud or like have been outside. And, like,
they never been in Waipio Valley. Like
no,
me.
Clearly not. Not like you, Miss Share the Poi. But like, it was their first time and they were like, it was actually so fun. And then like some people were like, oh, when we went to Kumuola, we were like scooping out this gross mud from the back and like moving it in buckets. To do that too. And they're like, that was so fun. And I was like, see, it's like kids don't go outside enough.
Yeah.
And I feel like we, as Kamehameha schools, has so many resources to take kids outside. So as soon as we figure that out, I think kids will be a lot more connected to that because it's more applicable. It's not just in a book, like you're outside and like you're breathing it and you're touching mud, you know, kind of thing. So, yeah.
So what is your vision for the future of Hawaiian cultural preservation within like education?
I have a lot of visions and a lot of thoughts. But I guess what I will say is I'm sure a lot of people notice it, not just myself, but I feel like there's been a big cultural shift, some in the right direction and some in not so the right direction. So I feel like as a lāhui, so many of us have become so like taken over by this American individualistic mindset of like me. Like everything I do is for me. I'm gonna graduate top honors from Kamehameha school so that I can get a good job, so that I can have a nice house, you know, like very surface level. And that is beautiful. Like you should absolutely think about those things. But I think it's important that we move from that individualistic mindset to more of a collectivist mindset that our kupuna actually had, which is how they thrived for so long. And thinking like, okay, well, I'm gonna do this as my career so that I can make all of this money so I can support myself and my family, but also there's a community impact as well. Oh, it doesn't matter if I don't do these certain things because it doesn't impact me, but it does. It impacts other people and it impacts your community. So just having that mindset switch. But I think I'm really hopeful that my vision hasn't changed because I feel like I see it sometimes. Like during the TMT and Mauna Kea protests, like you could feel it. Like I can't even explain it, but you could literally feel it. And I feel it when we sing Hawaiʻi ponoʻi and things like that. So it's definitely there, but I think we need to be conscious of the fact that, or we just need to be conscious of each other and that we're not just doing things to do things for ourselves. We're doing it for a bigger purpose and to move all of us together as a lāhui. So I would say my vision is obviously for our lāhui to be strong and self-reliant and just be able to survive just with us and with other people, of course. But like, we don't have to depend on anyone but ourselves. But I think that mindset shift definitely has to happen first. But,
yeah.
I know you just touched upon it, but in your opinion, what role does education play in strengthening the Hawaiian lāhui?
The biggest, like the biggest role. Education is bigger than just school. Like people are like, oh my God, education is so boring. Like school is so boring. I feel like I'm not learning anything, but education is bigger than school. But if we're just talking about school type of education, it's so important because this is the place to make connections with people and to figure out who you are and what you believe, what you don't believe. It's teaching you skills like critical thinking. And even if assignments may not always feel relatable to a degree or useful, it is at the same time because there's a lesson in everything. So I think school is a great place to start in terms of educating people in general. But education is also the going outside. Education is traveling around the world and like meeting new people in different cultures, is going to school and making friend groups of people that you never would have imagined you would meet. Like my friends in college are wild. Like their stories are wild. Like I have friends from Central Oregon who, you know, had never met anyone from Hawaii before. I have friends from Oregon whose families are from Mexico or Gujarat in India. Like some of my friends are in the Peace Corps, like crazy things. One of my friends are from North Dakota and our freshman, to come to freshman orientation, he biked the whole way on his own.
From North Dakota to Oregon.
Yes, to Oregon by himself. And it's just like I carry all of...
Is that for real?
Yeah, for real. He's awesome, but he's a special boy. But he literally did that. He's like, this sounds fun. And he had his bike the whole college experience. And he was like, I think this would be cool. And he did it. You know, so I feel like I carried everyone's stories with me. All of my friends, people that I met in college that I only talked to once. Like that to me is education. Like you're meeting people that are so different and you're learning something from them. So I guess to go back to your question, even though I went 5 million years past, education is literally the key to everything because you're learning about everything. And so you make your education and you make your schooling what you make it. So like Poi says, conquer you can if you will is the key point. She gives us opportunities, but if you don't take those opportunities, then you'll learn somewhere else, hopefully, but you know.
Okay, to wrap things up, what advice would you give to young Hawaiians who are navigating their cultural and personal identity while wanting to pursue like higher education?
I guess my biggest piece of advice is to remember that home is not going to go anywhere. Like home the faces may change when you come home off the plane after school, or from college, from breaks, but it's going to be here. So go out, like experience the world. If not college, take a 2-week vacation to Japan and just immerse yourself in the culture and just remember that your Hawaiian identity, as long as it's like onipa'a and you're not gonna change it, like as long as you're trying to strengthen it and not forget about it when you travel to these places, I think that will be super beneficial. So I guess my biggest piece of advice is to go out and just experience life, so that you can really appreciate what we have here. Because I don't think we truly appreciate something until we don't really have it, either temporarily or ever again. So go out, have fun, like see the world, meet new people. Like life is really, really fun. So pursue higher education if you feel like the path is for you. But if that's not the path, educate yourselves in different ways. But as long as you get out and do that, you'll be fine. Life will be fine.
Well, mahalo for that mana'o and for being here today on Share the Poi.
Mahalo.
And thanks, Damon, again for guest hosting on this podcast.
Effervescent. Always feeling effervescent.
Well, that's the end of episode 5 of Share the Poi. Mahalo to our guests and guest hosts.